Dentistry in General Radio Network presents DIG's official podcast with Dr. Bob D.
Join us at Digapalooza this November in Chicago, brought to you by Dentistry in General. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers, leaders in their fields, delivering carefully selected topics that tackle the real challenges dentists face today. Held in the private halls of Gibson's Steakhouse, it's more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. Early bird pricing is live, but spots are limited and selling fast. Visit dentistryingeneral.com for more details.
In this episode,
the PRM is essentially being able to build a nurture campaign. So let's say a patient comes in for Invisalign, they're a good candidate, they were scanned, but they didn't do it. So how do you continue to engage with that patient? Month one, send them an email and talk to them about the importance of having straight teeth. Month two, maybe it's 10% discount. Month three, it's, hey, check out this amazing case result that we did. So that's the automation that we're adding to this, where a patient comes in, they meet the criteria, they automatically get added to the segment and then go through that nurture campaign. Now you have a section called apps. You'll have a bunch of different solutions you can plug in. So Mango is one of them. Through Soda, you can add Pearl. And we have about 4 or 5 additional companies that we're working with to plug in. We want to make it easy out of the box to add your different add-ons.
The future of private dental practices, automation, engagement, and growth with the dental app. Dr. Bob D. interviews Dr. Lior Tamir.
Hello, everyone. Today I have Dr. Lior Tamir, the founder of one of the cloud software that I recommend, the Dental App. We wanted to bring this episode to you because he has some new things that have impressed me. Everything we're going to discuss today is being done by corporate-owned practices. We talk about the changing of the landscape in the dental practice ownership, and Lior has things in his software that is going to empower us to do better and be successful in a private practice. The Dental App is a cloud software, and if you don't know what a cloud software is, you should read my article that's in my group, and it's in the Dental Nachos. Just search for comprehensive cloud software. Let's start with the front page.
Yeah, so essentially in this big update, we divide the functions of the office. You have your appointments, your two-way text messaging, your claims dashboard. Sequences are all your automated reminders, whether it's a request for reviews or reminding you to fill out your forms or your appointment reminders, it's all built here. Analytics reporting, and then settings. The sequence is like an automated flow. So you could say Gotcha. If it has an upcoming appointment in, let's say, 21 days, and let's say the upcoming appointment or appointment status is unconfirmed, then you can build out like a text message or an email to, hey, patient first name, please confirm. And then you can go ahead and specify the date and then have that just automatically go out. So the sequence section is a way for offices to customize these different automated reminders and so on. And you can have it, instead of doing a text message, you can have it create a task for your staff and have it send an email. And there's a million and one ways that you can trigger these actions that get automated. So this has been in our product for a long time.
So this is an automated reminders. Hey, you haven't had a cleaning in a while. Things like that. It gets built over here, right?
Exactly. What's important to note is that, like you said, corporate or very sophisticated offices are doing something like this. But if you look at what brands and companies do outside of dentistry, take e-commerce, for example. When you put something in the cart and then you don't check out, and then a week later you get a promotion in an email saying, hey, you forgot something in your cart. Those are the things that those timely messages and interactions happen through a traditional CRM, automation CRM. In dentistry, the reality is, especially a lot of high ticket items, sometimes it takes multiple interactions with a patient over a prolonged period of time to get them to come back in. And as dentists, we're always told by consultants, hey, you need to market to your existing patients, you need to do internal marketing, but we really don't have any ways to do it in a way where we're not spamming them. And this is where this comes in. And this is a really exciting update. This dummy data, you got 10,360 patients in the dummy data. And essentially you can filter by any one of these parameters. So you could say, show me patients that have a previous appointment that's been completed. That includes, and we can select a prophy. And then we'll apply this filter, and you'll see how that 10,000 list goes down to 6,000. And then we can start adding more information and need a crown. And now we're down to 526 patients. And let's say they're also past due, right? So we're trying to get patients back in and activate them, right? So we're down to 418 patients. So,
okay, so basically the same filtering that we already use in so many different websites. Like I buy fountain pens, right? And I want a certain tip for my fountain pen called nib, or I can basically filter down to a targeted number of pens. This is doing the same thing, right?
Exactly. And then you can take action from here. That's the whole idea. You can select all these 418 patients and essentially create a patient segment or a group of patients. And here you can either make this list dynamic, which says, hey, in the future, if anyone meets this criteria, automatically add them to this list, or a static list, so it's a one-time use list.
So he just created a report of patients and he's naming it.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and create the segment. And over here in the segment section, and it's going to take a little bit of time to add all those, but you can manage all of the segments that you build out, right? So you can specify segments that are static, segments that are dynamic. You can delete segments, but you have a way to keep track of these lists that you create. Patients is where you create the filters. Segments is where you store the lists. And then the treatment pipeline and broadcast is where you activate, where you actually take action with these lists and put it to use for the office.
So I want people not to get confused about these names, because if you haven't heard the word segment, it's basically the same thing as you created a report and you named it, and now they're listed all in the report section. They're called segments here because Lior's software is not just a practice management software, people. This is what I want you to understand what he's doing and what I like about this. This is a growth software. This is going to help you grow your practice.
It's really tailored to the business operator.
Right.
So treatment pipeline, let's briefly touch on that. We made some updates here. So we've had treatment pipelines in our system since the summer, but the concept behind treatment pipeline is helping offices keep track of patients that are in limbo. So they've been recommended a treatment, but then they never completed it. And some of the new things now is we had pretty basic filtering before. Now you can essentially, as you use the patients in the segments, you can upload those patient segments into a treatment pipeline. But what's pretty cool and where all this is going is you can now create individual stages and customize the stages of the pipeline. So for example, you can specify, for example, Invisalign patient is a good candidate, patient scanned, treatment plan presented, promotion presented, completed, right? So we can create custom steps now to the pipelines. So when you're adding, because a lot of times it takes, like I said, multiple touch points to interact with a patient before they do, especially high ticket items like Invisalign, implants, cosmetic work. And now you can essentially create your own steps to your interactions with them, customize this. And then as you interact with the patients, add your notes, assign it to staff members. And then again, you can just go ahead and select a specific segment, add them here, and get started. So we've added some really cool customization features to keeping track of patients with outstanding treatment.
Pipeline basically is diagnosed, but not completed. We have treatment that are in limbo. You need to figure out what to do with them, right?
Exactly. And then the next step is broadcasts, right? And broadcast is essentially your ability to launch campaigns. So if I click here, a new broadcast, and then specify email and SMS, we can go in and create a broadcast. A broadcast is essentially a marketing campaign, and you can add details here. You are overdue and need some treatment or whatever it may be. You can add your images, preview everything, build out your SMS campaign. Then you can coordinate when you want to launch this campaign, add your audience details, segment everything or add your segment, and then launch it and keep track of the performance. So this is a new campaign center. And again, the beauty behind this is instead of just sending an email or a text to every single patient, by having the ability to filter them, create the segment, you're able to hyper-target patients. So patients that are interested in Invisalign or patients that are overdue for hygiene. So for example, sometimes you only have 3 slots, but maybe you have 200 patients that are overdue for hygiene. Instead of sending it to all 200, you can now maybe send it to 10, wait for them to book, and then so on and so forth. Just a lot more tools to make sure that you're not spamming your patients and really building meaningful relationships, but doing it in a seamless way where you're not constantly managing raw data and trying to mess with it and make sense of it.
Struggling with the pressures of private practice? Digapalooza is here to help. Hosted by Dentistry in General the first weekend of November in Chicago, this unique event features all-star speakers, recognized globally for their expertise, delivering carefully selected topics designed to give you actionable takeaways for your practice. These aren't your typical lectures. Plus, sponsors are hand-picked to support independent dentists against private equity-backed offices. The learning continues beyond the classroom with insights from thousands of practices. Don't miss out. Early bird discounts are available now, but spots are limited and going fast. Secure yours at dentistryingeneral.com.
Yeah, I want people to do a 30-second summary from someone who doesn't know the software as good as you do. So this is basically PRM is a way of you communicating with your patients, right? And then the first icon on the upper left corner, it's the list of all of your patients. You filter them out. You create a report, which is called segments. And then you use that segment to create your way of communicating with them, which could be email, texts, and you send it. And on this broadcast tab, you can actually see who opened up their email, who engaged, correct? Is this how it works, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And one output also is adding a task to call, right? So we rolled out a Mango integration. So now you can task your staff to call a patient and get them back in as part of the steps, whether it's a step in the pipeline or just automated task that's added. So when your staff logs in, they're able to see the task that they need to complete.
So the office manager creates these and says, okay, this is yours, this is yours. Again, I want everybody to pay attention here is that the world of dentistry has changed. You can't just hang a shingle and the painless dentist back in the day and expect to grow your practice. You need to compete. And the way to compete is to engage. And this is basically an engagement software. You're not just entering information, you're engaging your patients. Take a minute to talk about this Mango integration. I want people to understand what voice over IP can do for you, rather than if you're still sticking with those old-fashioned phones. This is how it can work. So somebody calls the office, what happens?
Okay, so once you have, let me just show this real quick. Okay. So now under settings, you have a section called apps. And as we add more interactions or more connections, you'll have a bunch of different solutions you can plug in. So Mango is one of them, super easy to set it up. I think what's important is we see ourselves as the open dental of the cloud, right? We have our core competencies, and then we want to make it easy out of the box to add your different add-ons. So for example, through Soda, you can add Pearl. And we have about 4 or 5 additional companies that we're working with to plug in. Annie is one of them, and that's an AI phone operator. Right? Bola, we're working with Bola. By the time we roll out those additional ones, it'll be super easy. You just go into apps. You'll be able to activate the ones that you want to use, and then they work right out of the box. So there's really no setup, really just meant to be super seamless. So there's essentially two ways to start, or you can either do an outbound call. When Mango's set up, you have this little icon here. You're able to click it and then start a phone call. So it's that easy. And then we have this little icon here. This is called our patient hub. So when a phone call is coming in, this is going to blink. And when it blinks, you can pick it up. So if you click on it, it'll pick it up. And then in the patient hub, it shows you the information associated with that patient. So obviously, this is mainly fake data here. Patient name, date of birth, confirmation status, family balances, last appointment, next appointment. You can send a text message, add an internal note. The idea is that when a person makes a phone call and you want to get a quick idea of what's going on with them, once you click this to pick it up, you'll get the summary in the patient hub. You touched on some of the additional dental exchange stuff. So we did add their insurance verification. Once all the patient information is in, you're able to just specify which clinician you want to specify or get eligibility for. And then we just provide all the information that we get back. You can search and then add it to the patient chart. So we're adding more functionality around that. We're also working with Dental Exchange to plug in their automated EOB solution, so digital ERAs, and that'll auto-populate payments. So that'll help save a lot of just clicking and data input.
These things that Lior talked about are very important because you have now insurance verification integrated and this automated entry of EOBs into the patient's ledger can save you a lot of time and money. And these are coming up later on. I know you talked to me about automation, about
yes, I think that's the last thing I wanted.
Yes, tell me about this.
Yeah, so Q1, what can you expect from the dental app? We're in testing with payments, so we're going to be rolling out payments, automated payments or credit card processing right through our app. And then the next step for us with the PRM is essentially being able to build out long-term campaigns, or what we call in marketing, nurture campaigns. So let's say a patient comes in for Invisalign, they're a good candidate, they were scanned, but they didn't do it. They didn't come for whatever reason. They don't have the money, they weren't in for insurance, they're maybe switching jobs, they're taking a vacation. So how do you continue to engage with that patient? Essentially, being able to then say, okay, month one, send them an email and talk to them about the importance of having straight teeth and how it makes keeping their teeth clean and overall hygiene better or improving their bite. Month two, maybe it's 10% discount. Month three, it's, hey, check out this amazing case result that we did. And you'll be able, so that's the automation or the next step that we're adding to this, where you'll be able to build out these campaigns. And then again, because the lists are dynamic, you don't have to keep adding patients to these sequences or automation. Patient comes in, they meet the criteria, they automatically get added to the segment and then go through that nurture campaign. So that's the direction that all of this is going. I'm just constantly trying to add tools to help the smaller dental practices or business-oriented dental practices do the sophisticated kind of stuff that we see the most successful practices do.
Yeah, and you also said that Mango AI is going to be integrated soon, which means listens to phone calls and
summarizes them and writes it right back to the chart.
No, writes it back to the chart. I want people to understand you're bringing some of the strategies that marketing companies for Fortune 500 companies do into dentistry to help private practices. We talk about smaller practices, but if you are that office that's doing 1.5 million and you feel you're stuck, why not use software to automate things?
So even offices doing 1, 2, 3, 5 million, the reality is that in our industry, you always have to have more treatments. It's not this recurring revenue thing. Today, it's just so hard to keep track of these patients. It's so hard to activate them without spamming them. And it's really actually a huge important part of what we do. That's why consultants are always saying, hey, you need to activate your own patients. You need to do internal marketing. But we've really never had the tools, and the ability to take practice management software and then add these tools on top of it is really exciting. And I think that's always been our mission at the Dental App, is building these unique solutions that you can really just from day one put in action. These tools are meant to help people grow, especially coming up in 2025. I think a lot of offices are thinking about, hey, how do I take my practice to the next level? How do I get people in? How do I reactivate patients? Many offices are sitting on a gold mine of patients, right? And if you think about it, if I can help their office activate one patient a month, come back in for an implant restoration, a crown, whatever it is, treatment, or even patients that are just getting back in for recall and reactivate them, I've done my part. And by all means, it's more than paid for the software.
Yeah, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And for the private practices, I want to bring to people's attention that the price point Lior has brought into the market, in my opinion, disrupts the industry, just the way Open Dental did back in the early 2000s. I want to thank you for being here today, and hopefully we can do this again next quarter.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bob. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
That's a wrap, but your journey continues at Digapalooza this November in Chicago. Presented by Dentistry in General, this event connects you with world-class speakers, sharing insights you won't find anywhere else, and delivering carefully selected topics to help you grow clinically and professionally. Early bird pricing is available, but spots are limited and selling quickly. Elevate your skills and expand your network. Visit dentistryingeneral.com to register now.
This has been a production of Dentistry in General Radio Network. Visit our website, dentistryingeneral.com, to join engaging clinical and business conversations, explore our dental podcasts, and stay updated on our upcoming live event.